We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
Welcome to Mostly Horror.
Mostly.
I'm Steve.
And I'm dying.
That was a low energy mostly.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I'm Sean. I'm dying. I'm just super sick, man. I feel like the sticky residue at the bottom of like a middle school lunchroom trash can. That's if you want like a visual representation.
That's good.
Of my insides.
Yeah. Do you think it's because of karaoke?
I don't know. Well, so Max has not been feeling great.
Yeah, I think he's over it.
But is he? Yeah. It's changing every day. But it's basically, I can't figure out what it is. For yesterday, I was really worried it might be COVID because my taste and my smell was starting to get weird. But that can happen just with a sinus thing. But yeah, I think it's just a really bad cold. I know that there's COVID is up right now, but then there's some sort of like nasty cold going around, and I'm sure in a couple of days it'll be gone. I'm just a baby. Yeah. It feels like shit. I don't feel good. But yeah, so I apologize if throughout this whole episode I sound like shit, guys. That's basically the only reason I brought it up.
It's fine. This episode, we're joined by Jen and Kate, who are two hosts of the podcast Camping is Canceled, a true crime pod that we came across and that we enjoyed and wanted to chat with them. And yeah, it was fun having them on and talking about true crime and movies and horror, and we play a fun game with them. It's the first game that we've played in some time, so that's a good time. Before that, gonna hit you with some things you probably already know.
I'm sure you already knew that.
You only tell me stuff I already know.
You already know what I'm going to tell you.
And this one is I think there was a segment we did a while back where I just complained about something. I don't know if it's like Steve screams or something along those lines.
Something like that.
I'm gonna do another iteration of that because here's the thing. January 1st of this year, and when this episode comes out, it'll be January 13th, 14th, 15th, 15th. January 1st, the 1928 Disney short Steamboat Willie became public domain.
Okay.
And in 2 days in the new year, it was announced that a video game called Infestation 88, as well as a horror film called Mickey's Mousetrap, as well as another untitled horror film, were going to be coming out using the IP of Steamboat Willie. Now, this is not Mickey Mouse IP. Steamboat Willie looks different. It obviously was the inception of Mickey Mouse and transformed into Mickey Mouse eventually. But Steamboat Willie itself, that version of the mouse, is being used in all of this IP. What are we doing? I'm like, a video game is fine and it's fun, and we need multiples? I already don't care about the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, and like the fact that there's a sequel to that coming out, and the fact that, and this is the untitled one, the second Steamboat Willie that's coming out, is being directed by the guy who did The Mean One, which is the slasher take on The Grinch.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is basically a sadistic mouse who will torment a group of unsuspecting ferry passengers.
Of course.
It's just like, it just seems like such bottom of the barrel bullshit, like to really nail the alliteration here. Like there's no, it's not like clever to use the IP. It's not, you're not like doing something new. It's just very literally like, I know that people are going to watch this movie because I'm taking advantage of this property and turning it into a slasher. So
Sure.
I'm
Okay.
annoyed.
All right. I have a slightly different take, but I understand. First off, so yeah, Steamboat Willie. It's because technically Mickey Mouse is not free, is not like public domain.
Yeah.
But early iterations of him are. It's Steamboat Willie and it's the Mickey from Plane Crazy. Technically, the first like time that design was used by Walt was in Plane Crazy, but there's a lot of mice that look that way. And then the first time that like Mickey Mouse as a character, like solidified, stars in his own episode is with Steamboat Willie, and that is also the introductions of Minnie Mouse and Pete, actually. But funny enough, there's like key differences. Obviously, like the black and white, the general design that is different from the Mickey we know now, but also the gloves. If anyone were to decide to start making Mickey Mouse, like think that they can make black and white Mickey Mouse stuff in general right now, you will be sued 100% if you throw gloves on. Like you have to be very specific. It has to be Steamboat Willie or the even earlier design. I agree with you. Like I don't love there's all sorts. We talk all the time on the show about just milking an IP or like making a product to get some money, something that will have hype behind it. Everything from let's make another Insidious chapter maybe, or like let's reamp this franchise and not stay true to it at all, whatever it may be. So I feel like that, like obviously I don't find a ton of worth in stuff like this, but this does not frustrate me anywhere near as much as stuff like that. Like a new Exorcist movie not being that great is more frustrating to me than people turning around like quick slasher flicks with stuff like this. I think there's a juxtaposition there that will always be fun. And especially with something like a Disney property, Disney has been such a frustrating presence in the industry in a lot of ways. Like there's a lot of things that we love about Disney's art and stuff, but as a company, it's incredibly frustrating. So I think that there's a catharsis in shitting on the sacred mouse or finally getting to use the sacred mouse, I don't give a shit about this movie. I'm personally not like crazed to see it, but I understand it. And I'm sure the other thing is, I'm sure that people didn't whip this up. They knew, like these are people that were looking for what's coming out. These have been in the works for months and months, and they were waiting until, to kick it out. I was just talking with my buddy Troy about this on Twitter recently. But yeah, it's an interesting thing, but I think it's something we've always done. Taking as soon as we can do it without getting in any legal trouble. It's fun to take things that everyone knows and loves and twist it into something else. And for horror fans, it's fun to twist it into something dark. Honestly, I wish they would put more time into it and do something a little more serious with it.
I also I hate that it's a bunch of like, and listen, I love independent filmmakers. I just don't like that it's a bunch of independent filmmakers who like all have the same idea, thinking that there's going to be like some value to this. Like I would almost rather it's like Blumhouse is doing a Steamboat Willie movie. You know what I mean? Like something where fair. Like it can like, if you're going to do it, like let's let someone do it all the way. But yeah, I get what you mean. I was like seeing the reports roll in of like, oh my God, another one. Oh my God, another one. Oh my God. And like the video game looks cool, but I probably won't watch it. I don't know. It seems so goofy to me. I know I'm not like forced to watch it, but.
Sure. No, 100%. I get what you mean. Like I totally understand that feeling. I just don't. I'm just fairly indifferent to it. My thing, because I'm even cool with like anyone that wants to. If you're just trying to like get into making, like you're trying to become a filmmaker, and maybe you don't have like some crazy idea, but you want to pick up a camera and just get to work and see what you can make. Like taking something like this and maybe getting some traction behind it because it's this IP. I can respect that. I just hope, like, because I'm sure eventually I'll get around to seeing these, just out of curiosity, and it would be cool if they did do something different. Like we're just assuming that we know what it's going to be. I'm fairly confident that it's going to play out, a certain way that we can imagine exactly what this is going to be like. But from games to movies, it would be cool if they did something different. My frustration with the movie aspect of it is also there with games. I'm not like a huge horror game player, but a lot of that's because a lot of these games are like just hunting around for stuff, and then a character like sneaks
out.
behind and then comes up and and that just doesn't do anything for me. So
Yeah,
it'd be cool if
that's
something
fair.
different came from it. Was all I was trying to say, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah. I wanted to say something because I
Sure.
kept seeing more and more things. I'm over it already.
Do you know if, because like, so Steamboat Willie specifically, so when something like that becomes public domain, that's for everything that's included in that episode, right? Like, is that music now public domain? Can they use the, you know, the
I'm
like
not
little
sure.
whistle he does?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because Disney's actively using that as shorts before their movies. They've been doing that on, or at least they were doing it for several years.
That music.
Yeah, like think of like watching a Disney movie.
Yeah.
You know how they play a short before it. Do you remember like? And it like that's how they mark like a little Disney short.
Yeah,
Do you know what
true.
I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's with that quick animation.
I wonder if these movies or games will be able to use that music, if that's part of the thing, or if it's just the image.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know Disney like made a statement. I can't find it, dude. Also, there was a 10-minute short that was released called "The Vanishing of SS Willie." It's the first released thing so far. I'm just
there will be a quick boom, and then it'll get tired, and then and
it'll be whatever else becomes public.
What'll really happen is a lot of people will start putting them on shirts and stickers and whatever, and you won't have to worry about it. And I think that's kind of cool. But
yeah, I'm over it. I'm trying to find the Disney thing. Oh yeah. Over the weekend, more modern versions of Mickey will remain unaffected by the expiration of the Steamboat Willie copyright, and Mickey will continue to play a leading role as global ambassador, blah, 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 blah. We will, of course, continue to protect our rights in the more modern versions of Mickey Mouse and other works that remain subject to copyright. We'll work to safeguard against consumer confusion caused by unauthorized uses of Mickey and our other iconic characters. That was a Disney statement. So they basically said, fuck around and find out.
That's also interesting. I didn't know that just changing the design of a character can create like a whole new like copyright protection for like different stages of it. Like this has been a learning experience for me in that.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
like adding,
and then there's like parody law, which is like basically what, like not the Winnie the Pooh, but like the mean one.
Yeah,
that's kind of what they're leaning on to make sure that they're covered. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Other quick things you probably already know. Yeah, very confusing. Other quick things you probably already know. It was announced that Julia Garner from
oh no, bro,
I've lost it. Ozark. Julia Garner from Ozark is joining the cast of Leigh Whannell's next film Wolfman, along with Christopher Abbott. I love Julia Garner, so very excited for that. On top of that, what else?
I was just gonna say I trust Leigh with my entire life. I only know I haven't seen Ozark. I need to watch Ozark, but I've heard nothing but good things about her. And I am expecting this Wolfman to kick so much ass. I'm expecting it to kick so much ass.
Yeah,
I'm beyond stoked.
I'm very excited for that. There also is now, and again, you probably already know this, there's a trailer for The First Omen film. Yes. I have not watched it yet. I probably won't watch it. I'll probably just watch the movie, but excited for that. It's a feature directorial debut. So stoked to see what that turns out, or how that turns out. And then the last thing, and this may be fleshed out more by the time that this episode is released, but Neon released a teaser for what is probably going to be for one of their horror films coming out this year, that they did not say which film the teaser is for. There's two films that I think we talked about on an episode. There's Cuckoo, which is going to be with Hunter Schafer as the lead. A lot of secrecy around it, not a lot of information.
Yeah.
And then there's another film coming out being released by Neon, directed by Oz Perkins, who's the son of Anthony Perkins. He did The Black Coat's Daughter, Gretel and Hansel. It stars Micah Monroe and Nicolas Cage.
Yep.
And so I'm really curious. What was that?
Isn't that one called? That one's called Long Legs.
Oh, Long Legs. Yeah, I didn't say the
think,
name.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, really curious to see what this teaser is for. It's really cryptic, but it made me hype just watching the teaser. So
Yeah, it's if we're talking about the same thing, if we're thinking of the same thing, it's where it's like a family photo or like a photo of a guy and a daughter, and it's kind of like zooming out, and it's like a phone call that's happening, and
911
some
call,
creepy
yeah.
things are said. Yeah, 911 call, and some creepy things are said.
Yeah.
I saw some people talking about it online, and they also put like a weird. It looks like a title, but made out of symbols, and both with some of the pictures that were taken and that they are thinking that it's for Long Legs.
Got it.
Specifically, but we don't know. But I kind of agree with them. Like what they were saying was making sense. It shows a picture of a girl's legs in the thing, very briefly, and
True.
If you like in terms of number of symbols and like where symbols are the same in certain spots,
yes,
people are thinking
the G's are the same.
Yeah.
True.
I'm very curious. So
yeah, I'm stoked. I like The Black Coat's Daughter by Oz Perkins. I didn't love Gretel and Hansel. I love how it looks, but I didn't love Gretel and Hansel. Regardless, stoked. So if you haven't checked out the teaser, or by this time if it's been announced already, definitely look into it because it's really cool.
Really quick, I think we watched Black Coat's Daughter together. And probably, I think we went to the theater and saw Gretel and Hansel together too. I didn't absolutely love either, but there are things that I love about both of them. I honestly liked Gretel and Hansel a little bit more, so I'm on the flip side of you. But yeah, and there's definitely something there. So and I'm curious. I mean, the teaser alone, the marketing is leaning in a good direction. So. Yeah, I'm intrigued, is what I'll say for now.
I'm intrigued. We're both very intrigued. Good stuff. Well, on that note, we will get you guys over to our conversation with Jen and Kate from Camping is Canceled. Any final thoughts, Sean?
They were fun. It was a pleasure to meet them and chat with them. You can tell that they know their shit and they're passionate about what they do. I'm excited. We'll talk. I mean, you'll see why later. I'm excited to DM them and pollute their brains with some alien stuff. Yeah. And you guys, I think you're going to like the episode. And if you're into some true crime, you should go check out what they do.
On that note, we will get you guys over to our convo with Jen and Kate from Camping is Canceled. We will catch you on the other side. All right, we are joined today by Jen and Kate Ancuni, the hosts of the true crime podcast Camping is Canceled. Guys, thanks for joining us today. Yeah, we're excited to have you. We haven't had guests from another podcast in a while, I feel like. So this is the first time in quite some time that we've done kind of like a crossover episode. So really excited. Also excited that you guys brought your raccoon friend with you. I will say I first saw you guys because you have a really good I'll just call it a marketing strategy. Like your guys' social is really curated's not the right word, but it has a very specific vibe, a very specific look.
It's aesthetic.
Yeah, the aesthetic. That's the word. God, I couldn't think of it. Yeah, it's very, it has a very good look, and it made me interested. And then, obviously started listening. So I wanted to say from the top, good job. Great stuff. Love your content, podcast and social content. It's all great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, we first saw you guys because, we've only been on Instagram for almost exactly a year, but you were one of the first podcasts that was just kind of consistently in our feed. And because we listen to Morbid so much, and Ash and Elena are always talking about horror, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. I was like, that the pieces started coming together.
Sure.
We try to make everything accessible, which I think is like, what every podcast tries to do, right? Like you're telling a story that may not appeal, or talking about a subject that may not appeal to a lot of people, or may only appeal to a small subsection of people. And you have to try to think like, okay, how do I make this not just like niche, right? Like that's what talk about Ash and Elena. They're wonderful, wonderful people. But I think they do a really good job at being like talking about these specific things and making it widely accessible to a lot of people because of how they talk about it and also their personalities. Like that's the whole thing. It's also, I don't know if you guys have found this too, and we're just going to talk shop now, I guess, but like, are you trying to balance like getting your personalities across in the show as well as like conveying the story really well? Because that's one thing Sean and I battle with. We're like, all of our episodes are about the people that we talk to, but also like we don't want to get lost in that. We still are hosting a podcast.
I don't think it's like our main priority. Like when we went into it, it wasn't necessarily what we thought. Like we really want to tell the stories of our victims and really shit talk the people who did it.
Yeah.
And I think when we get to like have fun with like kind of tearing the person apart, I know that sounds bad, but like when we get into our conversations and stuff, we really show our sides, and I like that, and I try to keep that into the script.
Yes, we, like Kaitlyn was saying, we first and foremost want to tell the story well, but we personally, as consumers of true crime podcasts, tend to gravitate towards those podcasts that have enough of the personality of the person delivering it so that you don't feel like you're sitting listening to like our NPR recitation, or we want to feel as though we not necessarily have a relationship with the people telling the stories, but that, we hear their voice, we know the story's going to be told in a certain kind of way, and that's why we consistently return to that method of storytelling. And so it's a very like fine line to tread between making it about yourself and then sticking to the story. But we hope that and we're learning, we've only been doing this a year, but as we tell stories, we want to just get better and better at kind of like the balancing act of the two. So
that makes sense.
Absolutely. From the handful of episodes that I've listened to, it sounds like you guys, even early on, because I went back and I listened to the first 2 episodes.
Wow.
the preppy killer. I went back and then I kind of jumped forward a little bit, but it sounds like you guys have a natural thing for it, and it's a tough thing. Balancing the nature of what you're talking about and also coming through, but you have those moments where you can tear the killers apart, and what more of a nightmare for a killer than some folks tearing them apart on a podcast years after the fact.
Probably posthumously.
Yes. And we actually, if you went and listened to the very beginning episode, we actually just re-released that 2-part case, which was the Jennifer Levin murder, because that story was so important to both of us, and we obsessed over telling it the first time, but we told it the best of our ability at the time. It was down here, and now we felt like the bar has risen, so we're like, let's do it again, but better. And so we
not sharing a mic.
We were sharing a mic. We were both, our voices were like shaky reading the script.
I think that first episode took us a month
of multiple records to put out.
It took a long time.
It almost broke us.
You gotta get it right.
you want to
recorded. We had like 3 episodes that we never released.
Never.
That was
We've had a couple
show,
of those too, where we're just like.
We also, I mean, and that's one thing we talked about this that in a piece that we'll probably cut, but we there's like the learning curve. Like we spent so much time. If you listen to us at the beginning, like I really hope people listen to new episodes when they listen to us first before going back.
Right.
I hope people don't. Yeah, because like even when we first joined the Morbid Network, we were like, cool. This gives us a chance to like maybe restructure some things. So we literally took our episode like 16 or 19 or something with Ash and Elena and moved it to episode 1. So that way that's the first thing that people hear. And we recorded a new intro and we're like, hey guys, this isn't our actual first episode, but we put it here just so, Like,
Yeah.
we really wanted to be able to like curate the experience because there's some episodes where we probably sound like garbage. Like we weren't, this isn't an ad, but we weren't recording on Riverside from the get-go. Like we were recording on Zoom, and it's just,
and it's so hard to know what's you want to grab people's attention right from the beginning. And so there's also that trusting yourself and like putting out the content and the stories that you're not just like trying to curate it based on what you think people want to hear. And that, I hate the word authentic, but like staying true to like the things that you're passionate about, while also putting out the content that is then going to be like, oh, I'm going to listen to this episode and then I'm going to listen to another one because I was that gripped by it. And we know that there are cases that we are obsessed over than we thought were going to be like, get our most downloads. And then it got like 2. Yeah. And then one that we were like, we just slogged through that one. Then gets a lot more. So you just never know what people are going to.
Ours is the exact same way. I don't know if, Sean, if you look at stats, but one of our highest listened episodes, I won't call out which one it is, but one of our highest listened episodes is an indie film that came out that I don't think anyone watched. Like normally it wasn't in theaters or anything, and like not really even VOD, and I don't know why it has so many listens, but it's surreal. But then like obviously our bigger name ones do well, but there's some just random things. You just have to do it at the end of the day.
Yeah. I don't look at the episode stats as much, but I do a lot of the like clip posting and reel posting, and sometimes I'll edit for hours. I'll edit a video, I'll be like, this is it. This is the most algorithm pleasing. Like I'm using the host, I got the moment, and nothing happens. And then on other days where I just like whipped one up really quick and I was pissed off, and then that one takes off. And I'm like, dude, what the hell? I spent 4 hours yesterday. Yes, I spent 5 minutes today. Why?
There was the stupidest reel that I posted that was like just me slowly zooming in on a illustration of FBI guys with like gun between their legs doing ridiculous poses. Immediately had like quadruple the engagement of anything I've ever like poured my heart and soul into.
It's devastating.
That's what I've told Sean a number of times, like, dude, when in doubt, just meme it out. Like grab a meme, like tag whoever we're reposting it from, make sure that their name's on the thing, but just post a meme and it'll get engagement. Like, not that I want to just become a meme page, but anyways,
you gotta do what works.
I will say though, Sean, you had, if you're the one that's mostly doing the real content, there was one a ways back, and you guys, I think, had interviewed a director, and this reel actually like moved me to tears. And it was the one where this director was talking about like the significance of horror and the experience of it and like what it brings out in us. And you had like a bunch of cuts of different movies, most of which I had seen, so I felt the like response I think you were hoping to get. I was like, oh my god, this is like beautiful.
I'm trying to remember.
I think it was Levi. I think it was Levi Holloway.
That's probably it.
And it was like, why horror? And he was like, because Levi's so well spoken.
And it was such an eloquent soundbite from him.
I'll take a little bit of that credit for putting it together, but I'm mainly going to give that to Levi because Levi is just,
he's well spoken.
That whole episode, he hits like every point that of all the important things that I think a lot of people that like dismiss horror, he just like gets it, and that's a big part of like what we want to do with our show is, or at least especially on my end, is like show people that think that horror is just like a slasher, like that exists too, but there's a lot of power in there. For us to talk about things. I don't know. Thank you. I appreciate you.
I hear exactly what you're saying, and I have gotten an appreciation for horror the last couple of years because my brother he's an amazing artist and very like philosophical, creative person, and he is a long time horror fan.
He brings out some like really off the wall, like crazy ones. Yeah, it's like, I'm not gonna like that. And it's like, holy shit.
And we sit there just like the whole time.
Yeah.
He got Kaitlyn and I watching Hunter x Hunter, and Clove Hitch Killer, many of the like classic horror, The Blob, The Thing, some Alfred Hitchcock movies. And he's like, I know you say you don't like horror, but you just say that because you were traumatized by this app. And as a story and as an experience, you're gonna appreciate it once you get to the end. And every time I've been like, God damn it.
Yep. Yep. 100%. Yes.
That's
absolutely.
Oh, that's so good.
It sounds like he has good taste.
I do want to hit, so talking about you guys sent us a list of horror films, and I want to talk about the list, talk about some of them. But you did flag a couple as you called them MCT or major childhood trauma. So this brings us to a question. By the way. Yeah, that's a great like phrase.
Thanks.
I do want to go to a question that we ask a lot of people normally to start these conversations, which is your intros to horror. So you mentioned that, you may not have liked horror that much because of something that you saw when you were younger, that maybe you were like, fuck this isn't the genre that I want to watch anymore. Do you guys remember like the first horror films that you saw or maybe shouldn't have seen? And then I will say,
Kaitlyn,
after we talk about horror, I do want to talk about the first true crime case that kind of like sucked you in. But we'll talk about horror. We'll talk about horror films first. Whoever wants to go.
Yeah, you go first.
So mine was definitely It, the original.
Tim Curry.
Yeah.
The amount of unsupervised screen time I had as a child, ridiculous. The amount of like sci-fi movies I would find myself watching, but I specifically remember It. And for whatever reason, I don't know how old I was, but I was stuck to the couch, wide-eyed, alone in the house watching it, and I still cannot walk past a sewer without like keeping my distance and looking. So it was either that or Children of the Corn, and I live in cornfields, so I don't do kids. Kids are creepy.
Sure.
Yeah. Kids, old people, corn, clowns. Yeah. Those are all like true things to avoid. I agree. Yes. It doesn't help that that old It film is like 18 hours long. So you're just like bombarded with like stuff just hour after hour after hour.
I'm curious, did you like start at the beginning? Well, do you have like a rough idea of how old you were, and did you just turn on the TV and you saw like a certain scene? Did you start at the beginning with like Georgie? Like what happened?
Yes, it was definitely the beginning because I remember the Georgie scene.
Okay.
Gosh, I would say like maybe 8.
Oh yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll do it. Yeah.
And I couldn't even look at the cover. Halloween time, so trick or treating was a little scary.
Yeah.
A little iffy.
Yeah. Yeah. It is terrifying. What about you, Jen?
So you guys might have to help me with this one because I have a scene that lives rent-free in my brain of something I saw when I was a child that really like defined a lot of the visceral fears that I went on to hold. And I still have no idea where this came from.
This is one of my favorite things, by the way, to find this stuff. Yeah. All right, let's go.
So my childhood was a bit different than Kaitlyn's, and I did not have unchecked screen time. I grew up where my parents were very like careful about what we watched, and it's probably because they knew we were like already anxious and spooked easily, so they're like, we're not letting them watch that. But when I'd go to people's houses or like in my grandparents' house, the TV would just be on. And I have a memory of being at some extended relative's house, and there was a clip on some movie, and it's a little boy, and he was riding on a bicycle at night, and he's riding back and forth across his front yard, and there's this monster thing that looks like it's made out of sticks that is chasing him like around his yard. and you can see his family sitting in the house, like having dinner. And meanwhile, he's like trying to get to the house, like safety is right there, but he's on his bike outside and he's being chased around the yard by this like horrifying looking thing. And to this day, I have no idea what that was from, but that scared the hell out of me. Do you have any?
Isn't that just E.T.?
Right now?
E.T.
Shut up.
No.
I mean, I hated E.T.
Wait, does that happen in E.T.?
Yeah.
No, I don't
Is
remember
there something
that part.
chasing him?
Hold on.
And again, I'm remembering it through the lens of like my childhood memory. So I'm like, it was like a giant stick monster chasing him. It could have been a person. It could have just been like, I don't know. But I remember the kid on the bike, the family inside, and that he's being kept from like getting in his house by something that's chasing him.
Is the family? Did you say the family was watching him being chased though?
No, they're just like
No,
unaware.
They
that
don't know.
he's-
They don't know.
Yeah, they're like
Okay.
unaware that he's out there fighting for his life.
I would love it was AT.
I feel like it's E.T.
I don't know. I don't think so. It's
But that would make sense because it was on the like when I was 6-7 years old. It was constantly on all of those like AMC
Maybe
and whatever.
Watch it.
Maybe I do.
when was the last time you watched E.T.?
Oh, I mean, I must have been in middle school.
Oh well, then okay,
To
re-up
remember-
on that just to double check. But
Yeah, it has been
That's
years.
funny.
That's
It's-
probably what it was.
It's also possible though that that it wasn't a movie and that it was like an anthology
That's
episode or
what my-
something.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's what my brother said. He's like, it could have been a Goosebumps episode.
Goosebumps.
Like,
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah,
Tales
Yeah.
from the Crypt.
yeah.
Because I've had similar things. All right, I promise you, I will figure out what this movie is.
Yeah.
I will.
I
It
think
just
it's
might not be
E.T.
today.
Yeah,
You're probably right.
we'll send
'Cause-
you a message and be like, this
We'll
is
see.
100%.
The level
this
at
is-
sheltered that I was, something as inconsequential as ET would have scared the shit out of me. So
I will say, I just typed into Chat GPT like a brief description of the scene, and it says that it's E.T.
Really?
So
I'm
we'll come back to this. We'll come
Well,
back
what
to
did you
this.
type? All right, yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. No, we can.
Yeah,
The listeners can hear. I said there's a scene from a movie with a kid riding his bike on a front yard being chased by a stick monster. What movie is it? And Chat said, the scene you're describing sounds like it's from the movie E.T. the Extraterrestrial. In this film, there's a memorable scene where a young boy named Elliot rides his bike in the front yard while being chased by an alien creature that resembles a stick-like monster. The iconic moment occurs early in the movie when Elliot first encounters the alien.
I didn't like it.
okay,
remember
that would make a lot of sense.
That part of that movie, though, when I think of the bike,
Yeah, I don't. That's what
Yeah.
that scene I remember.
So that was like, that would then go on to explain a lot of my anxieties of like losing my parents in a crowd,
Oh
of like
gosh.
being afraid of being locked out of my house, of just ugh.
yeah,
Oh, and my other one is not as elaborate, but my other one was Signs.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, that seems to be one that was like a big, like seared into the minds of
Yeah.
a lot of people of our age. And I think part of it is because the
Yes.
marketing for it was just fantastic. The other reason is because, again, being super sheltered, when it came out, I was getting to that age where my parents were saying to let me like watch more things. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to rent the Signs DVD from the library.
that's so fair. Yeah, the marketing, when you're a kid,
Yeah.
especially dude, like 90s kids, early 2000s, when the marketing for some of these movies was so smart and just like scarring.
Mhm.
Like I've brought it up on the show a little
Yes.
bit before, but I remember some of my VHSs would have like the trailer for Jaws at the beginning of them, and I definitely remember seeing Saws. And you're like, dude, this is like the Nutty Professor. Why is there a Jaws like
Right,
yeah.
thing at the
Yeah.
beginning? And yeah, scar you. I
Yeah.
was so terrified to watch Signs. I
Do you
didn't
guys
watch it until-
remember the when the movie Deep Blue Sea came out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That poster for that. I still sometimes will have like fever dream nightmares. The woman with the giant like shadow shark in the background. Because there was a period of like a year where it was just plastered across every Blockbuster.
Yes.
And I remember that image. So I know. But yeah, that was another one. Yeah.
I'm glad we're seeing through lines here. We're seeing aliens being a thing. We're seeing sharks being a thing. We'll definitely come back to the aliens part. Sean has to have his 35 minutes per episode to talk about aliens.
Sorry.
While we so we hit the intros to horror, but what about true crime? You talked about some of these, maybe some of the specific cases maybe meaning more to you than others. But was there one that kind of like hooked you, or even like a true crime episode that hooked you guys, that made you, so interested?
So we actually covered this, I don't know how long ago, but my first one that I distinctly remember was Elizabeth Schaff, the girl in the bunker, who was kidnapped outside of her home by some mole person who liked to live underground. And
I don't think he's living anymore, didn't he?
He died.
Yeah. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's right.
But that one scarred me so badly because, I mean, she was taken from her front yard while her brother was inside. The cops were looking for her. She left breadcrumbs everywhere throughout the trail, and they still didn't find her. And
you would have been...
I was young.
Maybe like 9, 10, 11 when that was all over the news.
And I was spending the night with my friend, and her mom had it on, like it was like a, I don't know, Dateline or some episode. I remember, like, I don't know why all these creepy things, like, I'm like, yes, let's watch it and be scarred. Like, I know I'm being scarred in the moment, but that one really got to me. And she survived, and I love that about it.
Yeah.
So that was my first one that I distinctly remember that was real versus like Criminal Minds or Mentalist.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely. What about you, Jen?
My introduction to true crime was less about a specific case and more of a relationship that I had with my grandmother, who was very into true crime. And she had books, she watched all the shows like, Dateline and 60 Minutes and Unsolved Mysteries. And as a kid, I didn't really grasp what was happening, but she would let me watch these things with her. And that was a way that, I was kind of bonding with her, but she was also a fantastic storyteller and would be like, oh my God, this case reminds me of something that happened here where I grew up. And then she would launch into this terrifying story while I sat on the porch with her while she smoked. And I would just be like, and was way too young to be hearing that stuff. But I was just, I guess, enraptured by the way that she would tell stories and the way that she would tell them in a way that was like, this is our thing. Like, I know you don't know about this. Let me tell you. And so I always had that fascination with those dark history, crime, more macabre things that are a little less palatable because I had that introduction with somebody that made it fun. And as an adult, that has really, expanded, and fun isn't really the word I'd use anymore, although it is fun sometimes, but you know what I'm saying? That's really where it started for me, was spending that time with her and then just being very interested in those stories and the psychology of killers. I find endlessly fascinating. I love a good justice, good, like gotcha moment, survival stories, like all of those things. So,
I have so many thoughts. So first off, I love it. One of the things we really like to explore on the show is having it's a weird relationship to describe if you don't like get it. I think it can sound bad, but having like an adult that kind of brought you into the void in a safe way and kind of showed you some stuff as a kid. Like, I think, we shouldn't be traumatizing children, but also kids have, a morbid, dark curiosity like anybody else. Yeah. And so having that kind of relationship is amazing. I love that your grandma, turns you into this true crime junkie. I think that's fantastic. It's, it also reminds me a lot of my grandma was not a true crime person, but would watch a lot of Lifetime, and Unsolved Mysteries reruns came on Lifetime. And so I'd watch like The Nanny and Golden Girls with her, and then Unsolved Mysteries would come on, and I'd be like, do not change it. And so we'd watch that. And, so I totally get it. And then with Elizabeth's case, which is terrifying, and one of the episodes of your guys that I listened to, and you guys killed it, by the way. It actually. Yeah, 100%. You guys did a really good job, and I was so interested. I had not heard of that one before. It is terrifying. I imagine, especially hearing about it as a kid, that's incredibly scarring. But it sets up a perfect transition into what I kind of want to talk about next, which is a general true crime as an industry. I'm curious about your guys' thoughts on that. The reason I bring it up is because after listening to your guys' episode, I realized that there's a movie based on that story called The Girl in the Bunker, which, funny enough, has Henry Thomas, who plays Elliot in E.T., playing the killer, the kidnapper. Yes. So everything ties together right now.
Yes. If sorry, in fact that scene was from E.T.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm just curious about maybe to start, like, what are your guys' thoughts on the different things that we do with true crime, or like taking these horrible things and doing things like making dramatizations of them, or even just the shows that are making money telling these stories, or everything from podcasts to tourism. What are your guys' thoughts about stuff like that?
Oh gosh.
So we kind of discussed this last night with the Jeffrey Dahmer, with both the Ross Lynch and then the Evan Peters. And we both really enjoyed the Ross Lynch portrayal and how it respectfully showed. It was more like an educational show where it showed how he was raised, how his life. It showed everything before the murders. Whereas the Evan
My Friend
Peters,
Dahmer?
Yeah, My Friend Dahmer.
My Friend Dahmer, okay.
Whereas the Evan Peters one, I think I got through one episode and I was like, nah. Because it was more,
which is the Netflix, the Netflix true crime anthology series,
the Ryan Murphy one,
yes.
And then that one was just, I think, with all the outpour of the victims' family members being upset over it and not giving permission for it, and it leaning more towards the kills. It was less educational, and it was more profiting off of the victims. And I didn't appreciate that nor like it. So, but I didn't watch it all, so I can't give a full opinion. You'll say it better.
I completely agree with what Kaitlyn is saying, and something else that we've talked about is that I think that horror and true crime, because there are elements of both that are the same as, the violence, the terror, the, there being a killer and victims. I mean, you're going to have crossover, but with the experience of horror specifically, you guys know far much more than we do. But when I sit down and experience a horror movie, I'm there for the pleasure of being terrified and experiencing all of the things that we get from horror, that is telling a general story without going, oh, this is a movie about Jeffrey Dahmer, and the manufactured pleasure you're going to get is going to be watching him create the worst day of somebody's life over and over, and you're going to enjoy it. I think that is gross. However, I think that there is a way to tell those stories, like Kaitlyn was saying, with a movie that does it in a great way, I think, is the My Friend Dahmer, where we get to see and kind of scratch that itch of understanding the psychology of a killer without the glamorization of that worst, like I said, the worst day of somebody's life where they are the victim of a crime. And that's not to say those things can't be portrayed, but I think in film and television, when you start, especially in things that have happened in recent decades where people are still actively living and moving through the world, when you say, I'm making a movie or a film about this person and this is their name and this is their story, you do have a responsibility to not exploit that for the pleasure of the viewer. Whereas if it's general horror, like Hunter x Hunter, go nuts, because you're not talking about a specific victim. And people get weird about the true crime industry in general because they think, oh, well, you shouldn't find any sort of enjoyment in consuming true crime at all. And I think that I don't agree with that, because there is nothing new under the sun. People have been interested in crime and criminal psychology since day one. Yeah. One of my favorite dark history facts is when people were being executed, beheaded, hung, what have you, way back in the day, there was a pretty booming industry of people that would walk around and hand out flyers that they had like written and had printed that was giving people a rundown of, this is that person, this is what they did. And people would buy it and be like, oh, this person about to have their head chopped off did this and this and this and this. And that's like the OG, true crime storytelling, because we want to know, I think, I
think it's just normal curiosity.
Yeah.
Just like when I read an obituary, tell me how you died. Like, please. I just know.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's natural.
Yeah.
Like, how could I possibly die? I want to know how you died.
Yes.
Like, you died at home?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Even with like those public executions, like public, you know what I mean? Like they were public
they were family
executions.
People enjoyed seeing that person get got. So
that's, some would say that's more extreme than things, like how we're
100% it's more extreme.
No, I know.
You bring
obviously
the kids.
It's more extreme.
No, I know. Set up picnics and watch, like it was a family affair.
So harsh.
No,
I agree with everything you said. It's incredibly complicated, and I guess that's one thing where I get a little bit frustrated, but understand when people kind of put like black and white stuff on it, like from true crime to these sorts of dramatizations to even horror. People have a lot of feelings about these things, and it makes sense because these are naturally things that are looking at and studying the darkest aspects of our world and our species. And I think everything you just said makes sense. My Friend Dahmer was originally a graphic novel that was written by a friend of Jeffrey Dahmer, or at least someone that knew him growing up, and so
someone
like
he went to school with, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I know his like pen name is Dirkback Dirk, which I find really interesting.
Durf, right?
But
isn't it Durf?
Yeah, Dirkback Durf. Yeah,
Durfback
there you
Durf.
go.
Great
Durfback Durf. Either way, it's an interesting name. But yeah, like that is a study into like Dahmer and kind of what could have potentially made him who he is. And something like, for example, The Girl in the Bunker isn't about Vincent, it's about Elizabeth. It's like telling that story, I think, is a little bit better. I have certain issues with that movie, but
I'll have to watch it now, because I saw of it when I was researching, but I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, it's definitely not perfect, but it seems like they did a pretty good job. I could really elaborate on that. We'll end up talking about it the whole episode, so maybe in the future. But yeah, it's different when these things are handled with care as opposed to how can we take this actual killer and turn them into like a culture icon, or like Freddy Krueger or something. Like that is a different
almost.
take.
Yeah,
anti-hero, yes, which is not and I would say that like Ryan Murphy's take in the Evan Peters show, it leans a little bit in that direction, but then also it has these courtroom representations of people that didn't consent you know, to be in that show, and that's where it's exploitive.
And I watched, you know, the Dahmer show on Netflix, and have watched a lot of those crime anthology shows, that like The Staircase. I enjoyed that one for more entertainment reasons than, oh, this is definitely what happened reasons, and a little bit in defense of true crime storytelling in film and TV. I do think that people put an immense amount of responsibility and pressure on content creators to be everything to all people all the time.
Yes.
And you can't, or nothing would ever get made. So you're, at some point, you're gonna offend somebody, you're gonna have,
I mean, that's with everything.
Yes. And so I don't want people to stop telling true crime stories in film and television in a way that's meant to be more edutainment than like documentary style, because I think there is value in that storytelling as well.
Absolutely.
And nobody is ever going to get it right. But when you've been in that world long enough and consumed so much of that content, it's almost like you start getting this kind of inner like needle where you can go, I feel an ick here, and I'm not quite sure why, but maybe let me like look into that a little bit more and understand why I feel this way, and then maybe it leads me to a better understanding of the actual case and what actually happened. And so I am never gonna stop watching all of that stuff.
100%.
Of course.
100%. It's interesting. We could expand on this too, but I was thinking about all these things, and there's plenty of times where true crime also inspires entertainment, or like specifically the horror genre, in a way that isn't direct dramatizations, like Ed Gein or Ed Gein. I never know if it's Gein. I'm sure you're familiar with him. Gein. It's that's how most people say it. I've heard people correct it. I'm like, I like Gein. But, I mean, he is the direct inspiration for 3 of the most prominent horror characters in the genre. Norman Bates from Psycho. Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
Which my brothers made me watch all 3 of them, all 3 of those, and they're all fantastic.
And so I feel like that's a way where, you know, that is just a normal human thing, where we hear about these horrible things that happen in the world, and of course it impacts our art. And I feel like that, to me, is a respectful way for it to be done. But even people have differing opinions on that, and who's to say that it's wrong? It's just, it's nuanced and
it is wrong, but it's
it's all POV. And like talking about like the responsibility aspect of things, like I think that frankly there's levels to it. I think as you know what I mean, like as you get bigger and have a larger audience, like, you know, we have a small to medium audience, and we can make decisions and do what we think is best, but like maybe not go as far as to not say something, where if we had a larger audience, maybe we would. Like that's the thing with like Ryan Murphy is, you know, big ass Netflix show, you know, that everyone's going to see it, and it's you know, Jeffrey Dahmer, it's going to be number 1 on, you know, as soon as it drops. Like you need to think about those sort of things. So I think that that's where like there's levels of responsibility to all of them.
I agree with that.
And like the content creation, you know, obviously levels to that as well, from being a podcast to making a major motion picture. I think that there's like a big there's obviously a differentiation there. And again, like, you know, Sean, to your point, there's no black and white kind of line in the sand that you can draw. And that's always the tough part. I think we had an episode where we talked about the Dahmer stuff for a while, because it's just like, it's really hard to to
complicated.
Yeah, to talk about that. One thing I do want to ask, going a little bit away from true crime, but something that you guys also have talked about on your socials is paranormal things.
Yes.
I would love to know what specific paranormal things you both gravitate towards, and I'm sure Sean would like to know your thoughts on aliens. So feel free to do either first, if one of them is more pressing. But would love to know what paranormal things pique your interest. I haven't seen you do too much paranormal episodes. There's maybe some stuff
that is
scattered,
something
but
we want to do.
Yeah.
They're coming.
Yes, they are. We are both extremely interested in the paranormal, and particularly cryptids and things that.
And we both have had separate experiences with, I would say, ghosts or like especially working in a nursing home with the negative energy.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yes, that's actually how Kaitlyn and I met, was working together as CNAs in a nursing home, and you really get comfortable with death, comfortable with gallows humor.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't harden you, but it makes you become less afraid of the things.
And if anything, it kind of opened my mind to further possibilities. So, like, I do believe in ghosts. I do. One thing that we talk about a lot in regards to cryptids is flesh pedestrians. We don't say the real name.
I think that's a term that Asha and Elena actually came up with, was flesh pedestrian.
Skinwalkers. We don't say that. We actually live around Indian burial grounds and mounds and all that. And
yes, and there are several stories from around our area of people having encounters with things that align with those flesh pedestrians. Yes,
flesh pedestrians.
So
I've heard a lot of that folks at night, so we don't mess with that.
Wow.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you hear whistling from the woods, you are out.
No.
I get it.
You whistle back, Sean. You have to be polite.
No, you run away as fast as you can.
Yes.
And I don't think we've ever talked about aliens.
Not
like you and I.
No, not really.
But I do believe in aliens. I believe in the possibility of them.
Okay.
And my husband and I watch a lot of shows regarding them.
I got Rex. I got Rex on Rex. I'll send some.
I will just say, I was skeptical of Alien when you like Alien, but then I was sat down and made to watch the Legend of Flesh Pedestrian Ranch.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That then made me be like, oh.
Yeah.
And my dad was always really big into, there was a radio show that would come on like late at night that was almost exclusively alien stuff, like UFO sightings. I can't remember what it's called now, but I can't say I'm not a believer, but I'm not like, yes, I've not been like invested in learning about it as much as other things. So give us Rex for sure.
I don't know everything, so
I'll send a whole thing.
Possibilities
do. If anyone knows a lot, it's Sean.
Yeah, it's funny because to me it's all the same. Like when I was a kid, I was obsessed with the Loch Ness Monster specifically. I loved Nessie.
Oh, same.
And letting go of that belief was so hard for me. Yeah, like that was a
I'm
rough
sorry
one.
you've let go.
I'm sorry. I'm just being realistic. Like in my heart, I did not let go of the love, but like in terms of what I actually like, I'm like, okay, Nessie is probably not the one that's real, which bums me out. I hope, dude. I hope I'm so wrong.
Dude.
It's I know, but I just remember. No, I'm sorry. What?
Did you see all the stuff that was like that really famous photo was taken was actually like a whale penis?
Yes.
That
I
was
did.
Yep.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's a whole thing.
But
yeah,
I don't
so
know if I
stuff like
believe that.
Yeah, I don't want to. I want the water horse story. I don't know if you guys ever saw that
The movie
but
Yes, I
Water Horse.
loved that movie.
Yeah,
Loved it. Yes.
But yeah, I grew up like obsessed with the Loch Ness Monster and with ghosts specifically, and it's just funny because like when I was a kid, I 100% believed in ghosts. Definitely believed in the Loch Ness Monster, and now I'm much more skeptical about those. And I'm
really
but like Bigfoot and specifically aliens, I'm more open to, and like skinwalkers, like different cryptids. Because I think, and the reason is because I think that all the cryptids that we've seen, everything from Mothman to skinwalkers, I think they're all just aliens.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. We've talked. Oh, go ahead.
No. So you go. I'll come back to it.
We have talked about there seems to be this weird like social media phenomenon about Mothman being like a zaddy, like being sexy.
We have some explicit patches regarding.
I've seen some of the stickers. Yeah.
And so I was like, when did we decide that a giant bug man was
people swear he is?
It's the mystery aspect of it.
It is the mystery. That's really funny though. But yes, Mothman, Bigfoot, I very much believe in the existence of those things.
There was recently that one video at the end of this past year that someone took on a train in Colorado. They were like scanning across, and on a mountain you see something walking, and it's like it's an area of a mountain where it's like really difficult to get to. And it's I haven't looked into it recently to see if there's any validity or if anyone's like said, oh yeah, that was me, I was walking. But yeah, I definitely that was me. Oh, by the way, sorry. That was me.
Sorry.
I don't know. I'm definitely not on Sean's level. I will say, and this is just like a subtle flex, but I was able to meet Neil deGrasse Tyson recently, and he was talking about how it's basically inevitable that there's life somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So I'm not to the point of like they're here.
Yeah.
But I definitely am, I believe that they have to be
sometime. Yeah,
they have to be. And sure, if they're here and they're just like, it's just one of those things where it's like, if the people that are like calling out all these like synchronicities and like weird cryptids being here and there, like if these people are the ones that are like, they've somehow dug up a treasure map, or like they put the clues together, and it wasn't like our smartest minds, I just don't believe that. If that makes sense. Yeah. Like, is that like if someone driving a Ford Focus is the one who was like, oh yeah, I discovered aliens are actually here, I just like don't believe that. Is that weird? No shade to Ford. I had a Ford Focus, but like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just, I don't know. That's my take.
No, I completely agree. And I'm curious if you guys to kind of like circle back to the ghosts thing. I'm curious if you guys have personally had any encounters that either solidified or kind of like debunked in your mind the existence of such. Yes.
So I've definitely had weird things happen. Like I've straight up seen things move. It would take too long to tell each story, but like in summary, I've seen a TV do things that doesn't make any sense. That could be like totally could be a malfunction, but in the night that it happened was absolutely terrifying. I literally watched one of my sister's dolls fly off of a shelf and hit my brother in the head while he was sleeping. Like I watched it happen. And I've heard things, but and especially back then, like it freaked me out. But now I don't know. I think basically I went on I wasn't like super religious growing up, but I went on in my early 20s. I kind of like really questioned and like a lot of the things that I believed, and realized that it doesn't really make sense to believe something because you like the idea. And I had to, like in applying that to my religious beliefs, realized I had to apply it to other things.
Right.
Just So yeah, I still love the idea of ghost. I would love to, like, if I had the opportunity to go ghost hunting right now, I'm totally open to it. I would love to do it and hope that I experience something. But at this point, it's been so long since I have experienced anything. And just the more that I've learned about, I don't know, our world, I don't know what I think about it. I'm much more skeptical. Does that kind of answer it?
Oh yeah,
But I've had
absolutely.
stuff happen. It's just been a long time.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve saw a ghost once.
haven't. Well, I saw something. I don't know what it was. But I was basically like leaving it was on Halloween too, but I was leaving a house. And it was one of those things where no one else was in the house. As I pulled out of the driveway, I looked in my rearview mirror and I was able to see inside on the second level of the house that I was leaving, and there was someone standing just like on the second floor. And I just like was like, nope, keep driving away. And it wasn't my house, so I wasn't worried about like returning. So yeah, that was the one thing. But I'm very like, I'm a skeptical person, very skeptical, very like logical. So I try to think of like even 2 nights ago, I watched a film that wasn't even that scary, but it just made me like wary of all the noises that were happening at 1 o'clock in the morning. And so I basically laying there, I'm like, okay, that's the sound of the radiator. That's the sound of, you know what I mean? I try to like, I try to rationalize myself out of being afraid. Yeah. So I do that with any, weird experience, but I think that's the only thing that I've ever like seen.
That's
what are you
crazy.
gonna say, Sean?
I do want to say it. I've known Steve since, God, how long have I known you, man? It's been a long time since we were in high school, and I've always known him to be like the skeptic. And I had known him for a bit before we eventually got that ghost story out of him. And he's like, "Listen, man, I don't know." And so it was really fun to
That's
hear
the
that.
only one.
Yeah, but it was just funny.
It was a ghost. Maybe it was someone breaking into the house and I just got out.
Maybe
100%.
But he walked in.
It was still fun to hear you of all people be like, "Listen, man, it was weird. I'm gonna say it was weird."
Yeah,
and then also, there's all this stuff coming out about like UFOs and stuff right now, UAPs, and I've been like, Steve's been hearing a lot of it too, and even he has said like, "Yeah, man, it's weird."
It seems,
and so I appreciate that.
Some of the stuff.
If
it's
Steve
hard.
Goes,
like, I don't have the evidence, right? Like
stay.
Sean texted me, and we probably were going to talk about this at another point of the pod, and not to derail, but Sean texted me. He was like, "Oh, you see the weird shit in Miami?" And I was like, "No, what?" And Sean said there was some 8-foot tall things.
Hold up.
On New Year's Day, there was a number of ragamuffin kids who had they were exchanging fisticuffs at a mall. And I think they lit off fireworks, and a number of police were called. It was like 6 squad cars or something outside of this mall.
It was like 50 plus. You got to see the video.
Police called?
It's literally. I'm not joking. This is. You can't argue this part. There are countless videos of like so many police cars. I've never seen that many police cars show up to anything.
Basically, the report. It was on New Year's Day. And the report was shots fired at this mall in Miami, and it was a number of teens, and it was this like huge fight. It just ended up getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it then turned into a report of a 10-foot alien at the mall. And what happened is that there is I'm assuming helicopter video, of it's just like flying over the outside of the mall where these police cars are, and one person on the app formerly known as Twitter was like, "Oh yeah, look at this, look at the what seems to be an 8 to 10 foot alien walking between the cars so casually." It's a very blurry video, and when you see the actual footage of it, it's just about 3 police officers walking right next to each other. And their shadow, their additional shadow makes it look like a very tall person, or alien
illusion
is walking.
Hold up. I have to defend myself on multiple fronts here. I didn't say, "Hey, there were aliens at a mall in Miami." I said, "Did you hear about Miami?" These are the things that are being said. I don't necessarily think there are aliens, but there were at least 50 plus cars. You can see them. swarming this mall. The mall shut down. They shut off the power to like not just that mall area, but like it was like 600 plus something homes or something like that.
I think that was
shut down.
I think that was a false claim as well.
Really?
The chief of police says that no one lost power.
I gotta look more into it, but either way, and also apparently flights weren't coming in and out of the whatever. But there were people. Oh, that's the other thing, is it wasn't just people online. Like there were people that were running away that were saying aliens, but that doesn't mean, or tall beings, but that doesn't mean that that's true.
Yeah,
that's a whole other thing.
All that I'm trying to say is the internet is generally a cesspool, and too many things can happen so quickly, and you can have people be like, "Oh, did you hear about the aliens?" Not that Sean said that, but that was the subtext.
That's not what happened.
And anyways, it's too easy to just believe everything that you see. So I try to research as much as possible. And
I think that's smart.
Always... Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes. I think that with those kind of things, I tend to be very, like, aliens. I'm definitely more of the skeptic until I am like, I need to see a photograph. But there was, Sean, you probably know all about this, but there was like a hearing not too long ago because there was somebody that was like in the upper echelons of research.
Jen.
Don't even get Sean started.
Jen, I've been talking about it for fucking months, Jen. I've been bringing it up on every goddamn
but I did get sucked into reading and watching stuff about that, and I was like, okay, if I was ever going to be convinced, like, if this guy is under oath being like, I saw stuff.
Yeah.
It's multiple people.
Yeah.
And it's not just seeing stuff. It's recorded. Like, we have some of the highest people in our government that are coming out and say, well, not just our government, and all the world governments that are coming out and saying, like, yes, our government has openly admitted that, like, yes, there are things that are flying in the sky that when we cannot understand what they are. And
that
it's not just about videos.
Yes.
Fuck Elon Musk. But the important thing is that it's not just, oh, we're seeing weird videos, because as normal people, as civilians, like, that's what we care about, is what we can see. But way more important than videos is data that is coming from the records of these things. And like, these are 100% things that are doing that are maneuvering in ways that we do not have the technology, like not even like hundreds of thousands of years more advanced than us. So I'm going to put together I'm going to curate a little starter kit for you
one-sheeter
of some docs and videos to watch. And you're just going to have to lock up for like a week and a half and lose your mind.
I did love, related to aliens, not real life, but I loved this movie so much that I saw it like twice in the theater in the same couple of days. It was Arrival when that came out.
So good.
Yeah.
I still never saw it.
It was so, you would really like that one.
I gotta see it.
But yeah, that was one of the best. I loved that. And just like a year or so ago, I watched Into the Vast of Night. Have you seen that one, Sean?
No. What?
Oh my god. Okay, you would love it if you are into alien stuff. That was so good. I can't believe.
Funny you should say that. So 2019 in the Vast of Night.
Into the Vast of Night, and the premise is that it's like in the 50s or 60s, and these kids run a radio show, like a local radio show, and basically it like happens in real time over the course of one evening. Basically, like, the world as we know it is ending, but only these kids know it because they can hear what's happening on this radio, and everybody in the town is like at the local basketball game or something, and like aliens have arrived, but nobody knows it.
I'm sold.
It's so good. It's
I
very
love a good alien movie.
Pretty. Yeah. It feels very like I don't know if you saw Super 8, the Steamboat.
Love Super 8.
Yes, it has that feel, but I think even better. And you'll like. You have to tell me what you think when you watch it.
Will do.
There's so many good so many good alien movies, and some of them, I mean, I'm assuming like this one just kind of fly under the radar. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Like,
Never heard of it.
You know, there was no one will
I think
save
it was
you.
like an Amazon Prime.
Yeah, that's what it.
drop.
That's what it's saying. I will say, I looked up the director Andrew Patterson, and it says he has since made an as yet untitled film, a revenge thriller set in the honeybee industry.
What?
So I'm really curious about that. On top of the aliens, that's
the bee movie too.
The bee,
The bee movie too.
Bee movie too.
Hey,
like
bees
jazz.
have their own world on par with alien intelligence. I'm just saying.
Very true.
Yeah.
It goes aliens
That's a
and
whole
then
other
bees.
episode.
Yeah.
And then
So
people.
people way at the bottom. We do want to get to a game that we were going to play.
Yes.
Very excited to jump into that. And I'm going to let Sean kick it off because Sean had a brief synopsis on how we were going to play this game. So,
well, yeah, we try to think of like things that, you know, are related to what we're talking about. So trying to come up with these interesting hypothetical games is definitely a creative exercise in and of itself. But we're typing back and forth about potential ideas. And I came up with the thing that I sent you guys. So I'm going to explain that to the listeners, what we're doing today. All right, guys. Also, Chelsea, throw in our game sound, because our game sound is fantastic. That's a note for the editor. Yeah, dude, I want to play a game. Bruce made a whole thing.
Yeah, I forgot Bruce had.
We haven't been using it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Chelsea.
Listeners, for the sake of this game, you have been horribly murdered, ripped so hard. The funeral was very touching. People cried. You are now dead. I am curious about everyone's choices. Who would you want to play you in a movie about your death? And you can kind of describe what you think the movie might be. It's up to you. Take that in whatever direction you want to go.
Okay. Can I have a quick clarification?
Yes.
Yeah.
When you say ripped so hard, do you mean as in R.I.P. apostrophe E.D. or as in ripped R.I.P.P.E.D.? You were ripped, and that is your cause of death.
Oh yeah, you just got checked.
I like that Kate also
cases.
flexed. That's the third.
Right.
The third option is you're very strong when you die.
So ripped, dude. No. I meant rip, like rest in peace. So hard, everyone cried. It was touching.
Yeah.
Your third grade teacher was there.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, you can take it in whatever direction you want. I chose different actors for different scenarios of what might have happened. And,
Okay.
So if you guys want, I can go ahead and go first.
Yeah, you gotta go first, Sean.
Doesn't have to be a crazy thing, but so this is what I'm thinking. My first pick came to me instantly. Didn't even have to think about it. I would want Elijah Wood to play me.
That's a good one.
That's
a good one.
Right. Okay. Now, here's the deal. This is what I'm thinking. So the reason for it is, frankly, I think that he can bring a sense of discomfort and oddness to the role that would simply be necessary.
Yes.
Sean's really short. We should start there.
I'm really short.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm pretty sure I'm shorter than Elijah. Like I'm 100% sure I'm shorter than Elijah. I think Elijah's like 5'4", 5'5", and I'm like 5'2". So I'm down.
His name came up when we were talking about this. Yes. Actually, that's
really.
He's on my list for something.
Oh, okay. We'll wait.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think Elijah would hear about my case and would be so moved that he would want to write and produce a movie himself under his company, Spectrovision.
Spectrovision.
So, and And yeah, it would be like a strange, dark tale, you know, very, very like quirky, like a lot of the horror movies that he's done. I don't know if you guys have seen it, of my demise. And I'm thinking that the situation like that would lead to him wanting to do it would be, you know, maybe if I was ever killed by like in the weird parallel universe where I'm killed by a listener or something, like the premise the premise is like small time podcast host kidnapped and killed by one crazy fan, and the movie starts off with like interviews with people and they're like, who, like what podcast? I have no clue what you're talking about. And yeah, maybe it bounces back and forth between cinematic and found footage, but yeah, I think Elijah would be able to dive into the role that is me.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love it.
Have you guys ever seen Come to Daddy? Is that what it's called?
Is that the one where he's a serial killer?
No. That's Maniac.
That's Maniac. That's right.
Yes, which is a remake.
I have not seen Come to Daddy.
You should watch Come to Daddy.
So this is
look at him.
This is Come to Daddy.
Oh my gosh.
He's got a great Tommy Shelby-esque haircut.
The mustaches.
The mustache is mustachioing.
Mustache.
Yeah,
it's a good one. I don't know where it's from.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll put that on the list.
Definitely watch that.
He's got a few. He's got a few, but yeah, 100%. I'm locking in Elijah. No one else can have Elijah.
No one else. All
right. Who's next?
I wasn't gonna pick Elijah, so that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Steve, you gonna go?
All right, I'll go. Sorry, my camera was not playing nice. So I was trying to think of. I didn't want to just go with like people that look like me or people that would be good. Although I do have one of those.
Really quick before Steve says it, I just want to say I wouldn't bet money on it, but I wrote down who I think Steve picked for himself.
Okay.
And when we're done, I'll see if I'm right about any of
I think you're going to be so wrong. I
that's
think you're
fine.
going to be so wrong.
I think my guesses are justified. So even if I'm wrong, I think it's fine. But dude, if I get 3 for 3, you owe me a steak dinner. All right, let's go.
I hope that you're wrong with the very first one. So,
right.
I think that I don't know how I would die, but it would be the circumstances surrounding it would be so enthralling that they wouldn't know how to portray me or the people that were involved in my death. And so they wouldn't want to use real actors. They would want to do motion capture. And the king of motion capture is Andy Serkis. So Andy Serkis would play every single person in this movie, but just doing motion capture for every single person. So he would be the killer and also the killee. He would look like me, but because it would be like, computer generated. I also have just been like really wanting to rewatch the Planet of the Apes movies after Sean and I had a conversation with someone about it.
Scary.
Yeah,
they're so good.
They're so good, and Andy Serkis is just the best. So that's my first choice is Andy Serkis.
Oh.
Did you get that one, Sean?
No, and listen, and I applaud you because it's such a curveball. Steve was like, I'm going to have Andy Serkis meet the Clumps and tell my story and just play every single character. That is insane.
He's doing his best Tyler Perry impression, and he's going to do every single character. But it's not going to be bad makeup. It's going to be motion capture and computer animated.
Sure, very stylized film.
Yes,
okay.
Exactly.
Wow. All right.
Yep. So,
all right, which one of you guys want to go first?
Serkis.
Okay. I'll go. So this was really hard. I was like, who?
Yeah.
What?
Like, we went at this like there was something at stake if we said chose wrong.
I mean, if my sister would have picked, she would have picked Tina Belcher to play me. So, but
that would be an artistic vision in itself.
It would be something. Definitely play my teen years. But I went with Aubrey Plaza.
Oh,
okay.
I fucking love her.
Yes, we love her too.
Her dry humor, her sarcasm, like her I don't give a fuck attitude, I think could play me very well.
Yes.
And I think I would die in road rage.
Okay.
I think that's
in this specific scenario. Yeah.
As in, you piss someone off so much that they killed you?
Yeah.
Okay.
They follow me. There's just like, I'm not gonna. I mean, you could get me with a puppy into a van. You probably could.
That's good. Okay.
I know we advise our listeners not to do
Right.
that.
Well, how
get-
cute's the puppy, you know?
Yeah, what kind of dog?
There's only so
That's-
much self-control that you can have.
Yeah.
It's a dog.
That's
But yeah, I think Aubrey Plaza would really
Yeah.
bring
Embody the role.
my life.
Yes.
She would portray it well.
Yes.
Absolutely. Are there any movies of hers that like specifically make you like see her specifically in this? Like it might not be that, oh, I think that my movie would be like this, but
See, I don't think it's movies or shows that
the
necessarily
interviews.
Yeah, it's her actual personal interviews. It's
Okay.
everything to do with her as her, not her as a character.
Got you. Okay.
I
I like it.
I will say, and not to just keep pulling personal stories in here, but
this is cool.
I work for some basketball teams in Brooklyn, and Aubrey Plaza was at one of our games, and so when we have celebrities, we cut a clip for them, we put them on the jumbotron.
That's awesome.
And I cut a clip for her, and it was just from Parks and Rec. It wasn't like White Lotus, it wasn't something new, but it was something. It was a really funny clip. But she does this like shtick where when she's at a game and they cut to her, she looks like she's unhappy about it, even though our team like talks to them and we're like, just so you know, the cameras are you good with it? And we ask them if they're fine, and they're like, yeah, put me up. And so the clip went up, and she was just like, and I was just like, no, don't do that to me. I feel like I did something wrong,
Dude.
But yeah, I
love her.
She's so good.
She thrives on testing people's comfort zones
Yes.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And that is fun.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love Aubrey
I
Plaza.
loved the clip of her where she went on the Today Show, and she just I think it was the Today Show where she just remained in a character the whole time and made them so uncomfortable that they didn't know what to do, and she just never broke. And I was like, I love you. And she was like making fun of the whole like ridiculousness of the being on the Today Show.
Yeah.
And it was great.
She is.
Good.
She's
It
an
was-
icon. Great,
Yeah.
great
Yeah,
choice.
great pick. I can see it.
Yeah.
Obviously don't know you that well, but I can just see her playing a role like that. And yeah. All right,
Jen, what about you?
Oh God. Okay. So for mine, who would play me? I have stepped outside of my gender and my race to
Great.
give the task to someone.
Oh gosh.
Not because they look nothing like me, but because the character that they played and the death that I experienced of theirs is in my like top 3 most devastating deaths. And so if somebody was going to play me and like handle my death in a way that would basically like cause cultural waves for days, it would have to be Stephen Yoon.
Okay.
From-
What death?
Yes. Listen, it's 2024.
I can see
We
it.
don't got to worry about any
And
of
I
that
have
other stuff with
reasons.
casting. It's about the emotion.
Yeah.
It's about the
I have
emotion.
reasons,
Yeah, I need the
'cause
reasons.
I know he looks nothing like me.
Let's go.
But the way that he just kind of like silently made his way through all 500 seasons of The Walking Dead, like not actually really, I mean, he was always there, but he
Yeah.
didn't have those like long,
Are you saying you're a background character?
yeah, not a background character, but like his face wasn't in the screen the way that Rick's was, the whole,
Yeah.
But I loved Glenn so much, and I loved his character so much. And when he died, I'm sorry if it's spoilers, but it's been years, so whatever.
Everyone knows.
But when he died, that was the only episode of television that I can remember where my husband and I were watching it. He dies. We had nothing to say.
That was a
Like,
dropping moment.
We, in silence, just like turned off the TV, and we did not speak to each other for like a day.
Oh,
Not because
I
we
love
were like
those
mad. It was
moments.
just like this silence, like actual grief. And then we stepped away from The Walking Dead for like a full year because it destroyed us so hard.
Just had to get away. Oh my god.
So I was like, I need everyone to feel how I felt.
Okay.
That's good. Steven Yeun's great. He's wonderful in everything. Like I thought you were gonna say Nope for some reason as being the death, but
no.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that makes sense. You want that impact. You want that that devastation. I get
you want to pick someone that you know can pull it off. That's all that matters.
Yes. And I also, on a side note, slightly related to Steven Yeun, one of my favorite stories about him is that he went on David Chang's show, Ugly Delicious. Mm-hmm. And David Chang makes it a point to tell Steven Yeun, they like take him out to this dinner and everybody's sitting around. And there's a lot of people that like Steven Yeun doesn't know. And he's like, Steven, I just want you to know that when you had your first sex scene with Maggie, my entire family was gathered around.
Just staring.
On purpose.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Because they were like, this is a monumental moment in television. What?
A cultural checkpoint. Oh my god. Wow, great
And
picks.
Steven is just like, can I just please eat my barbecue? And
Right. Stop being weird. That's so good. Wow. I love it.
Great. Yeah,
Love
unexpected
Steven.
but wonderful choice, Steven Yeun.
It's a similar. I had a similar direction I was gonna go in an honorable mention. I'll say it later.
All right,
not a full thing. But
what's your next one, Sean?
My number 2 pick, Danny Radcliff. Good old Daniel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Blue-eyed boys.
Potter. For similar reasons to Elijah, I got a whole note section over here. But for similar reasons to Elijah, but I see this being a slightly less dark and more weird focused take on my death.
He's great at weird.
Huh?
He's great at weird.
Yeah,
like
he's great at
like
weird.
an army man take on your death.
Yeah,
like
it's army man. Yeah,
I got stuff. So, this would be the kind of movie that wouldn't just be about my murder, but it would be about all of the different like dreams and hallucinations and other lives that I'm having as DMT floods my brain as I'm dying. So, right?
It's a good movie.
And it would
idea
be like,
in general.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
Oh, I know.
idea
I was like, I got to write the script.
Yeah.
So I was like correcting everything that went wrong in my life, you know, like just kind of like metaphorically, symbolically taking wins in this last moment over losses. And it would be bouncing between different fantasies and alternative realities. But then there's like this weird, like everything's good, but then there's this weird character, this same face that keeps showing up in all the different fantasies. And that's when it starts to go dark, you know, and you're like, who is this person?
Who is this person?
And this would be like the cause of my death. This would totally be the situation where like I pissed off the wrong person or I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I don't know exactly what it is, but like, you know, in the store when a robbery takes place, or like I say something out on the street and it was to the wrong person. And
you were
like
rear-ended by Kate, and then you both
honestly, yeah,
each other.
There you go, boom. it's the second half of that story.
Yes.
No, but yeah, and then you know, as the story goes on, maybe you find out that my death was less random than it looked like at the beginning.
Okay.
Maybe it wasn't just a happenstance. So I'm thinking, basically think Cloud Atlas meets The Lovely Bones meets Inception meets Guns Akimbo.
Ooh, okay.
I do love Guns Akimbo.
Oh,
have you seen
yeah.
Cloud Atlas?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I saw trailers for Cloud Atlas.
I was like, what do you mean Cloud Atlas? Have you seen that
parallel?
No,
they do
I
like a
slogged through Cloud Atlas.
Yeah,
really?
I was gonna.
I wasn't. I don't know. It just didn't hit it. For
No,
me.
it's-
I just know that they do a multiple. Like, there's like,
Yeah.
isn't that like the whole thing?
Yeah.
That's all I meant. Was
Yeah,
like,
no, I get it.
taking
I was
bits and
I was
pieces. Yeah.
caught off guard thinking that you had watched that movie. I was like, it doesn't
No.
seem like it's up your alley. That's a good. I like that. I love, dude. Daniel Radcliffe. Speaking of Guns, I was gonna bring up Guns Akimbo because that's. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that film, but basically
That's
the
the
whole
movie where
premise,
his hands are guns, right?
he has guns bolted to his hands.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so
Caitlin's just shaking
good.
her head.
Oh my goodness.
It's
Gotta
so
see it.
good. Yeah, it is.
I do love that he is like, I did Harry Potter, you know.
He's already done the best.
My
Let's get weird.
bloodline is set for the next 400 years,
Yeah.
fully funded. I can
Yeah.
do whatever I want.
Whatever
No,
the
I can
fuck
be
I
Weird
want.
Al Yankovic. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
that you
he's like-
needed. No, it's great. I love Daniel Radcliffe and Guns Akimbo. Daniel Radcliffe's
Yeah.
on Broadway right now, and I really would love to see him because
Who missed
go.
all?
he
I
seems
did
like a great
miss
guy.
him.
Yeah.
All right, so my next choice, this one's tough. This one's another out of the box one, and I will say, similar to Jen, I wasn't gonna stick with gender roles here, but this is also a person who just goes above and beyond gender roles in film. I think that I would be, I would kill someone and then need to go into hiding and put on different disguises and try to be someone else my whole life and then eventually die. And this is the person that's playing my life after that. And the chameleon person that I think would play me would be Tilda Swinton.
That's a
Tilda-
great one.
Tilda could be anybody, anywhere, at
Damn.
any time, at any place.
Wow.
Wow.
Very
Yeah.
similar to Andy Serkis in terms of you need this person to play a frog or you need them to play a state senator. They'll fucking
Or,
nail it.
The Narnia witch.
Yeah, you need him to be
Yeah.
the Narnia witch. You need him to be in, Suspiria. You got an old man to play, and also a blood mother, whatever she is in that movie.
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton will kill it. So, yeah,
Aw,
there's not enough.
That's a great choice.
There's equally too many and not enough Tilda Swinton roles all at once. Like you could probably never finish watching all the movies she's been in, but still want more. And that's why I think she would play me very well.
She's one of those actors that there's always that, like, there's the caliber of people that are, the ones that are always at the Oscars because they get a lot of the big roles, and then the ones that we all know because they're in the TV shows we like or whatever. And then there's those people that are just like on another planet of their craft, and that she's one of those people for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I saw, it's funny because she was in how many movies was she in last year? She's in a couple that I saw. She's a voice in Pinocchio. She was in Asteroid City, and then I saw, and in Asteroid City she's like playing a character. But then I saw the movie The Killer, which is the new David Fincher film, and she kind of just like plays. What are
Isn't
those?
this her? Is this her in
From-
Pinocchio? Doesn't she do?
The wood sprite?
Yeah, she does the sprites,
Is
right?
that the wood
Sorry.
sprite? Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, completely derailed you.
No, that's her.
That's great.
But
So
yeah, in the Killer, she just plays like a woman speaking, and I was like, you should have given anyone else this role. Tilda Swinton needs to play a fox or something, like like not like the
Yeah.
animal of the fox.
A biblically accurate angel. Like
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Like that is, you
Nice.
got to give her some weird
Yeah.
shit. So yeah, I love.
Who
Tilda,
I
so.
feel like is somebody that has that range like that. I mean, is not Tilda Swinton because nobody's her, but that just kind of like came from left field was Robert Pattinson. Like
Very fair.
Sure.
I don't know. He's
Have you
not on my
guys-
list.
Have you
But-
guys seen The Boy and the Heron? I don't think Sean has yet either.
I
No, I
have
haven't
watched clips from it. I plan on watching it, but his voice is unbelievable.
He's
Like,
the
it
voice of the
was-
heron, and you're like,
Yeah.
that's not Robert Pattinson.
I know exactly what you mean by throwing him in that group. I think it's interesting when you think of Twilight, but that was just like him kind of getting in, and then you think of like everything else, and I think 100%.
Yeah.
There was, I mean, I thought in his own way he was a fantastic Batman, and then there was there's been a lot of weird like indie, some sci-fi that he's done, and then There was one that was on Netflix, and Tom Holland was also in it. And
Devil's All the Way Down or whatever it
yes,
was called. Devil All the Time.
Yeah,
and he plays a pastor who has like the weirdest accent ever.
Who has like this weird like little
you
know, and he's kind of got like a paunch, and like he was so vile and like evil, and I was like, man, I hate, but I love this. Like that was good.
Yes.
Sorry to go off on a tangent, but
no, I love it because I love Robert as well. I should have chosen Robert as my maybe I'll rethink my third. All right, Kate, what about you?
So my second one, I went with someone I loved in the Supernatural series. She played Claire. I don't know if you guys watched that. Catherine Newton.
Oh, I love Catherine Newton.
I love her. I like who she plays in Claire or in Supernatural. I think could portray me as a teenager, and I'd probably die from talking badly to the wrong person. Again, just road rage.
I like that. That's the through line.
Like if I'm gonna die, it's because I fucked around and found out.
I fucked around and found out. Yeah, Catherine Newton is. That's also a good horror. Like she's in a lot of horror.
She's in
stuff.
Freaky.
She's in Freaky. She's also in Lisa Frankenstein that's coming out soon. That's
Hell
a good one.
Oh, that is a really good one.
Sorry.
I love that you're spinning everyone through the road rage things. Yeah, fantastic.
I just can't think of myself dying any other way.
Fair.
That's fair. Yeah.
Besides pissing somebody off.
Someone's gotta be the person that dies in a road rage accident. Otherwise, there's no stakes to road rage anymore.
volunteers tribute.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes.
Jen, what about you?
Jen? So I didn't pick another person that would play me, but I picked a person that in a film about my murder I would enjoy a plot where they were the killer of me.
Okay.
Got it. Okay.
And the person that I went with was Lena Dunham.
Okay.
One sec. I have to remind myself who that is.
The writer and director starred in Girls, you know, and the reason why I picked her is because she was one of like the first shows that I got into as an adult where I was like, I deeply unlike every single person in this show.
Yeah.
But I still feel very compelled to watch it, and it was funny. Mm-hmm. And Lena Dunham is somebody that I feel like I would like a movie that was a dark humor murder where she kills me, but it's funny and it's over something super trivial. And then she just continues to go about her self-obsessed writer life in New York City like she does in Girls. Like, you know, like I embarrassed her during her shift at the coffee shop. She just yeets me, kicks me in the dumpster, and then just goes about and acts completely clueless. And then it's just like, you know,
unrelated. Like the murder, the murder is like done. You don't think about it ever again. Yeah. And that she does not like labor over my death. Like her problem is meeting some sort of like boy for a date that she's been talking up on Tinder. Like, does not miss me at all. That's funny.
I love it.
I can't imagine Lena Dunham killing anybody. Like, just like visually can't imagine that happening.
I think she has a darkness that is. I think she has a darkness.
That's.
And maybe she doesn't even know is there.
I fucking love this idea. You're just like, the movie about my death. My death is actually inconsequential. And it's it's not inconsequential, but it's the undertones of the story that's really happening.
It's just the inciting incident.
To me saying I wanted my death to like cause cultural mourning for a day. But
this one's the opposite of the Stephen Yeun one.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I watched that movie.
Yes.
That is funny. Wow.
All right, Sean, what short white male person are you going to choose for your third one?
Listen, hold up. Well, I was trying to be. I was putting my casting skills to work. All right, so actually with this one, since we're bending the rules a little bit, I'm going to get a little weird. I'm going to describe what I see the movie being first, and then I'm going to give you the two people that I can't decide between. You guys have to help me decide. All right, so I see this as being this is the 9-episode like Netflix special. Like, this isn't the movie. This is the 9 about the case. All right.
Love that.
And the show starts, the opening scene starts with my death. It's like a panicked whatever, me, like dark room, me bloody and panicked, breathing really deep and fighting to keep a door closed and just like locking it and someone's banging on the other side. And it's like me like slowly turning and sliding down the door and just like keeping that door fucking shut, and the camera is zooming in on my face slowly while the banging, you can still see the door banging, but the banging gets quiet and fades out while a hum fades in, and then it gets really close to my face. I'm like, and then boom, it cuts, and it's the same like frame of my face, but a different day lighting, and it says something like 3 weeks earlier, and then it like the show is setting up how we got to this moment, and it's a
like a
whodunit,
Breaking
and it's
Bad episode.
Yes.
Kind of,
always do
yes.
that. Yes, yeah.
And then throughout the show, you're just introduced to a ton of people that would totally want to fucking kill me. You're like, I could see him wanting to kill him. I could see her wanting to kill him. And yeah,
Did
and
you
it's kind
say
of like,
fucking kill or fuck and kill? Because that there's
you'll have to watch and see. But but potentially like Flanagan directing. But so, okay. All right. So here's the two people. Initially, when I wrote that plot thinking of Charlie Cox, who plays Daredevil.
Yes, okay. I can see that.
Charlie Cox. But then for some reason, as it went on, I was like, maybe Kieran Culkin?
Ooh.
Right? So who do you think?
Refresh that, because you said Kieran Culkin, and I just pictured Macaulay Culkin, and I know this is not...
Imagine Macaulay, but he kind of looks different. like
yeah. Kieran is from Succession. He's also in Scott Pilgrim. But he's
Scott Pilgrim.
He's Roman in Succession, and also he's in Scott Pilgrim.
Oh my god! Okay, yes.
Yeah.
I think Kieran.
That's great.
I fucking love Kieran Culkin.
Yes, Kieran Culkin is great.
I think he could totally do it, and I was leaning towards him, but because I wrote it with Charlie in mind, I was like, I can't decide. I have to let you guys pick for me.
Yeah.
I also think
so we're gonna lock
Rory
in.
Culkin could be good too. He plays
I thought
a good,
about it.
like unassuming character.
But I've only seen him in Scream 4, so I didn't feel as confident.
He's also in Signs.
Oh shit,
he's also in what show? What isn't he in? It's a Flanagan thing. Dr. Sleep? Is he in Dr. Sleep?
I did not see that.
So there's 3 Culkin brothers that act.
Oh yeah, and
I didn't realize there was a third.
There's 3 Culkin brothers, and the 2 that aren't Macaulay are better actors than Macaulay is, in my personal opinion.
Yes, I have to say, I did not know that Kieran Culkin existed before, and I didn't even when I started watching Succession, I was like, why does he look like? And then I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. They're both great.
Show.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a great choice.
I still need to watch Succession, but
Sean.
I know.
It's only one of the best
you
shows
haven't
ever
watched
made in the history of the
Succession?
world.
No.
Oh.
No.
You shouldn't have been allowed to use that for
Take it back. Charlie
You
Cox.
haven't earned it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my third pick.
That's a good one. I like the mini-series aspect. I guess it's just a series at that point, but the episodic aspect.
9 episodes, no other seasons. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm putting my foot down, Netflix. When this blows up, we're not milking it.
No, we're
right?
not.
So.
And if Ryan Murphy wants to direct, I'm out.
Yeah.
Okay. So for my next one, I don't really have a great reason for why I want this person to play me. I do think the movie about like my death would be like an outdoor survival movie. Like I get lost hiking and I like 127 hours sort of vibe, and like I'm eaten by an animal at the end or something. But simply because I want people to be like, wait, does he like look like the guy who's playing him? Brad Pitt. I just feel like having Brad Pitt play me.
Solid.
And they're like, oh yeah, and then they do like the side by side, and they're like, I guess I can see it, and then that way they're like, oh, yeah, Steve was... yeah, I feel like that's yeah.
Unpopular opinion. I do not like Brad Pitt. I don't like his movies.
I don't have.
I just don't.
I mean,
I think he's in great movies.
People, you just love them or you don't.
Sure, that's totally
vibe
fair.
or you don't.
You got the ick.
That's fair. I would say it wouldn't be now Brad Pitt. It would be like 1999 Brad Pitt.
Okay.
So it would be like
Legends of the Fall Brad Pitt.
Right.
Fight Club Brad Pitt. Like, you know, even we can like meet somewhere in the middle. World War Z Brad Pitt is fine. But
that was a good one.
Just somewhere in the middle. But yeah, and I think just like a Brad Pitt by himself trying to survive in the wilderness movie and eventually getting eaten by like
I'd watch
an army of fire ants or something.
I'd see it.
I'm kind of surprised we don't have a movie like that, because that seems like something he'd be like, yeah, I want to do that, and then you just see him like eating every 5 minutes something he foraged.
Yeah, the other big stars. Yeah, the other big stars have, you know, you got like Revenant, which is, I feel like Leo.
Yeah, I could see him in
that. So it's kind of, I could have said Leo too, I guess, but
yeah,
that one's, you know, the resemblance isn't really there. But so yeah, Brad Pitt is going to be my choice. I need to, Sean. I have to know who you were going to say. You thought I was going to choose, but we'll wait till the end.
We'll wait.
Kate, third choice. What you got?
So my last one was a toss up between two women playing older me. Or I don't want to say older me. I want to say middle-aged me, because these women are not old.
Aging like fine wine.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was between Kathryn Hahn and Kristen Wiig.
Oh, both so very solid.
And I went with Kristen Wiig because I love her.
Those are both
and I did
like
speech about her in high school.
You did? That's awesome.
They have like very similar vibes too.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Kathryn Hahn could play Kristen Wiig roles and vice versa.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like they both would portray a not put together, slightly unhinged, but very loving mother. Not an alcoholic, but you question it.
Sure. There is a lot of wine drank.
Yeah. But I like older me, and I guess how I'm gonna die is like a PTA meeting and piss off my moms.
Can see it.
I was gonna ask if it was also gonna be road rage again.
Because you cut her off on the way into the parking lot.
I don't vibe with the it moms, so
yeah.
Okay.
And then to add what we were laughing about earlier is, are we gonna discuss who killed us?
Yeah.
If you want, that's part of it.
Who was gonna kill me was Elijah Wood.
Nice.
I just watched a Vanity Fair interview over him, and his laugh is sinister.
He does have a very maniacal laugh. Yeah.
Like, he looks like he has bodies in his backyard.
There is something about Elijah that is both charming and insanely off-putting at the same time. Like I
love him. Everything you said about him was so true. Love him, but like, you gotta watch your bag.
Yes. Oh, that's so good.
Have you guys watched Yellow Jackets at all?
Yes.
Dude,
okay.
Yellow
This is another great example of that. Another great example of Elijah. Elijah Ing in that movie is so good.
Man.
Elijah Hard in that.
Yeah. I love the Kristen Wiig and Kathryn Hahn. I feel like Kathryn Hahn is a person that I've like seen in movies since I was born. Like will just pop up in a movie and you're like, how?
Wait, is that her?
Oh, hey,
you're just still in these. What do you say, Sean?
Yes.
Oh, I was just saying, oh, hey, it's you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I feel like I saw her in Step Brothers, and then I've seen her ever since my entire life. So
yeah,
great choice.
I love it.
Yep,
I love it.
Jen.
All right, Jen.
Last one, cherry on top.
Right. So my last one, because I didn't do 3 people that could play me, but I was kind of like just 3 main characters in a movie about my death.
Sure.
And so this would be the person that, I've been murdered, say, very inconsequentially by Lena Dunham, but not so to my family. And so the person that would be relentlessly searching for answers and would eventually avenge my death would be Katie Seagal. Gemma from Sons of Anarchy.
Nice.
Because as insanely off the rails as her character gets, and many things that she does that is not okay, I love Sons of Anarchy because of her, and because she plays so well the kind of person, the kind of mom that is punching some bitch in the face in the grocery store and then on her way out sees one of the guys who's in the club and is like, hey baby, you coming over for dinner? Okay, you better be sitting at the table when I pull out the spaghetti. Like that. She's that kind of
she yells
so
yes.
playing both sides sort of thing.
Yes. She's a very matriarch, but has her own demons that make her not the white knight. She's kind of the tortured soul whose heart's in the right place, but if she avenges you, she might go after the wrong person and then just be like, whoops.
Anti-hero.
But she's gonna go all the way to make sure that you're avenged.
Yeah.
Is what's gonna happen.
See,
yes.
I love these games and prompts because to see how different people take it, the fact that you were just okay, I'm less interested in who's going to play me, and I got to put the rest of this movie together. I love that. That is so funny.
The whole cast.
The thing about Katie Seagal is, and Sean, I don't know if you know this, but she's the voice of Leela from Futurama.
Yes.
So that is all
Leela
that I can.
Futurama.
Yeah.
I totally hear.
She's all that I can think of when you said that. I've just been like, Leela's avenging your death, which is also totally
you know what's
fair.
funny?
Okay, that
which
was
is also great.
Yeah.
Which is also great.
Visually, I can't I Google imaged her to remind myself who it was because I recognized the name, and it was all where her hair was fair. I don't want normal down, but she in Love and Marriage and in Smart House, it's up. And that's how I see her. She has fucking Smart House, dude. Fucking Smart House.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we all have homework today.
That's a throwback.
Yeah.
Rewatch Smart House.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
blast to the past, man.
That is a great one.
I see her hair that way. Is just So seeing it down,
early 2000s,
didn't even recognize her.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's good.
Wow. This was fun.
Does anyone have any honorable mentions? We can just quickly run through them. The one that I'll throw out, just because I was trying to think of who could resemble me the most, and also just because he needs to stop playing Italian people for no reason. It's just Adam Driver. I'm fairly tall, deeper voice, black hair. I feel like Adam Driver could play me. So
that's great that you had that, because I had him down as one of my options for the detective that would solve my death.
Because you were in your girl's brain and you were like, it's gonna be someone else. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And I love how he is just fully himself all the time and doesn't care, no matter what interview he's doing or no. And he handles himself with immense grace whenever people are like, so you don't look like Brad Pitt, right? And he's like, obviously.
Yeah. It's the reason I brought up the Italian thing is because someone brought that up to him in an interview, this is the second movie where you're playing an Italian person, and he's like, it's just 2 movies. I've done so many movies. Right. Just one of and they're 2 big movies, but yeah, I love Adam Driver. So
yeah, same.
Any other honorable mentions? Or Sean, I would love to know who you thought I was going to choose.
Yes.
So my only honorable mention, I was trying to find like build up an Ice Cube one where Ice Cube plays me. I just thought it would be a lot of fun. I couldn't figure out.
Not Ice Cube.
Huh?
I like the idea of
Ice-T
Ice-T.
too? Sure. Fuck
Ice-T's the detective. Ice Cube
Yeah.
plays you.
Yeah, oh, okay. Yeah, boom. All right.
SVU.
So right there, the building blocks are starting to fall into place. But yeah, I was trying to work with that and then ended up with everybody else. But okay. So for Steve, I thought that you might pick Andrew Garfield.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm not British, Sean.
It doesn't have to be. He never plays British guys. Paul Dano.
Oh, I do love Paul Dano.
Yeah,
Damn, that's a good one. I could
right?
have done Paul Dano. Yeah.
Okay.
Or obviously Jake Gillies, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I was shocked.
I wasn't thinking about like that's my thing with this game is I wasn't thinking about people that I thought I would like want to play me because they're good actors. I was just like having fun with it. But yeah, I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal is my favorite actor. Paul Dano is my second favorite actor. So those two are very.
I was
Andrew
going
Garfield.
off
I'm not
of,
a
like-
huge fan of, but
No, but you love From Under the Silver Lake. I was trying to think
Yeah.
of movies that you like, actors that you like, and potential directions you might go.
that's true.
But you went so curveball this time that
Yeah.
wasn't expecting it. But
Dude, there's so many if I was being serious, not that I wasn't being serious, but if I was like just doing straight white man choices, I would like Colin Farrell, Jake Gyllenhaal, Paul Dano.
yeah,
That would probably be my three. So those are good.
Steve, did you say that
credit.
Jake Gyllenhaal is like your favorite actor?
He's I have a Nightcrawler tattoo. He is like
Bitch.
10. He said bitch.
Not nearly the same. Not nearly the same, but there was a family round of Quiplash we played not that long ago where my name was property of Jake Gyllenhaal.
That's
Nice.
how did that fit in the thing? You get like 10 characters.
Wait,
what do you
no.
mean?
It must have been an answer I put, not the name.
gotcha.
I
Yeah,
imagine
have
like
been in the same room as him.
We have
We breathe
Wow.
the same air.
How? For
at
what?
a Comic Con
Oh, nice. Very, very
where
nice.
him and Tom Holland were talking about
Yeah, we didn't hear about
Spider-Man.
Tom Holland.
Yeah,
yeah. Jake
but man,
Gillies.
that was
10
the
out of
presence
10.
of greatness.
Wow.
And we missed our opportunity to do at the last minute we didn't do it, but it was one of those cons where you could pay like $100 and take your photo with them.
Sure.
But we were like, if we could do like an awkward family photo with Jake Gyllenhaal, we
Yeah.
would never. That would be like all of.
That'd be
our-
my Christmas card.
We
We
would
would like
Yeah.
post that picture online forever. Yes,
100%.
That would
He
be
is-
all
Love
Tiffany's
it.
cancer content.
I think Jake Gyllenhaal, like, I will probably cry if he ever wins an Oscar because I think he's so deserving. Like, he's like the best. Well,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I actually saw him. We saw a screening. There's a theater in New York that's owned by Netflix called the Paris Theater, and they do a lot of their premieres there for Netflix
love it.
films. And he was in a movie that was it affected me so little that I can't even remember the name. But he did like a Q&A afterwards, and I was
Yeah.
like, I love being in the same space right now, even though I didn't like the movie.
That's
But,
awesome.
Yeah, he is just 10 out of 10. Yeah, he's probably my number
Jake
one choice after
we,
the three that I chose.
he was my sexual awakening. I think 7th grade. October Sky.
October Sky. Okay.
Oh,
I thought you were going to say
October
like
Sky.
Donnie Darko or I don't know, something.
That's so fair.
Of October Sky. It was Space Week.
Yes, he was so earnest in October Sky.
That's a great movie.
Yes.
I love that movie.
He
Uh,
is a handsome gentleman.
10 out of 10.
I also loved him, and I had such a fantastically fun theater experience with Ambulance
Oh,
that he was in.
Yeah,
Oh my god, that was a really fun movie.
definitely.
And he can do anything. It's just,
Yeah,
whatever
very
he does, he crushes.
very Michael Bay type of movie, but makes
Yes, it
you
was.
know he's very good. Anything you throw him in, he's gonna just completely excel. So
he did
Yeah,
do
this-
good, yeah.
these are great. These are great choices.
Nice choice.
Sean's three that I should have chosen are three good ones as well. Guys, it's been a blast having you on. We
Yeah,
really
thank you for having
appreciate the time, almost double what we probably discussed, but
Yeah.
really
Oh,
appreciate
no.
you guys
We weren't
hanging out.
expecting
Before we let you go,
we're not with our kids right now. We're happy.
Yeah, there you go. If before we let you go, do you want to tell the listeners where they can find you, where they can listen, all that good stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can find us at Camping is Canceled on anywhere you listen to podcasts. We are Camping is Canceled on Spotify, or not Spotify, I'm sorry, Instagram, TikTok, and we also have a website, campingiscanceled.com.
Basically,
everything Camping is Canceled.
If you search Camping is Canceled on any platform, social media, or podcast related, you'll find us. And we also do want to put out to listeners, we started getting a couple, which is awesome, but we want to hear from people about their personal experiences with the paranormal, with cryptids, any personal survival stories they feel comfortable sharing, or case suggestions. We've got a couple really great case suggestions that we're actively researching now, especially if it's one where you remember something happening, but you're not quite sure what it was, and you haven't really heard it talked about much, but it really stuck with you. We love hearing those from people because we're kind of getting to that point where we want to do less of the stories that have been told over and over and over and over, and really get into some of those stories that need to be brought up to the surface again. And people just kind of digging back into their childhood memories is a great way for them to let us know about those stories. So yeah, to campingiscanceled@gmail.com or Instagram DMs. We are in those too.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Love it. Camping is Canceled everywhere. Guys, thanks again for hopping on. We'll have to bring you back for the other game that we talked about off the air.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll once the list is circulated online, we'll have to come back on and chat.
Yes, and we want to have you guys on our show as well. So we're gonna get that set up once we get off this record and get that figured out.
Absolutely.
We'll
if you guys ever end up diving some aliens, I'm here, man.
Sean's the guy.
If you want help, I got you.
Our source.
On that note, listeners, thank you guys for listening to our conversation. As always, you can find us at mostlyhorrormovienight@gmail.com. We are on Instagram at mostlyhorrorpod, TikTok, Twitter at mostlyhorror. I'm everywhere at Steven is Average. Sean's on all the socials at Hypocrite Inc. or hypocrite.inc. And that is all we got for you this week. We will catch you next time.
Goodbye.